and welcome to the post-credit show, where we talk about games we've played, movies we've watched, and other sort of nerd junk we've done. There it is. I was worried it froze for a second there on the others. There's too many screens.
There's too many.
I'm Nick.
I'm Brian.
And like I said, we're here to talk about games we've played, movies we've watched, other sort of nerd junk we've done.
I just have a long list of movies.
Shall we save that one for the end?
Sure.
All right, because we can put up the spoiler tag if I can find it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I've been playing Super Blood Hockey.
Oh yeah, you showed me a screenshot of that.
There was a screenshot of that because I was playing in between periods of the actual hockey game. I was watching the Oilers play, and in between, I was playing Super Blood Hockey. And Super Blood Hockey, I talked about it a bit last week. Franchise mode, you're a guy who wants to start his own team. So you sign up at this weird-looking, like, industrial type place. They take, I believe, your kidney. As funds to so they sell your kidney on the black market. That gives you the money to start your own team, and your team is made up of prisoners. And so the whole point to Super Blood Hockey is it's 4-on-4 hockey with one goalie. You don't control the goalie. It's very NES hockey. So the goalie kind of just follows the puck, and you can kind of hope to get it in sort of thing. But if you start a fight, you can actually
steal that guy's kidney?
No, you can injure one of the players enough that they don't play for the rest of the game.
Without a penalty.
No penalties in this game. So you can hit whoever you want to hit, all of that stuff, and there's no penalties in the game. On top of that, in franchise mode, you have to take care of your player's stats. And one of the stats in this game, because of the way it plays, is brain damage.
Ooh.
So, if a guy amasses enough of it, his stats are going to go down. So if on off days he showers, his brain damage will go down because it's a self-care kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he's taking care of his mental health, his brain damage goes down. So I usually take it to 5, and if it passes 5, it's hey, shower. 5 out of 100. I'm keeping my guys low on that spectrum of.
I was 5 out of what?
100.
Okay.
Not
5.
Not 5. So they go and do that. Otherwise, they can increase their speed, or they can increase their strength and all of that kind of stuff. You also have to pay rent every month. So you have to you win money for every game you win.
Right.
You also gain extra money for how brutal the game was. So the more you hit, the more money you'll end up making in the end. So you have to pay the players to eat. Once you've bought the player themselves, they're stuck with you. They're on your team. If they get injured, they end up in the ward, where they end up losing whatever body part it was that
they lose body parts.
Well, and then it's replaced by and that's why your kidney was worth so much, was because it's an organic kidney. It's not a fake kidney. It's not a genetically processed kidney. It's a all natural kidney. Homegrown kidney. So your guys will start getting different parts replaced with lab grown parts, which are not as good.
Yeah.
So they'll play worse until eventually you just send them down a chute and they're dead. And then you have to buy a new person. I only have 5 players. You can purchase more, but I'm waiting till I have enough money to kind of I'm gonna have A team and B team, so one team can take a game off, and then I can kind of switch players.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about it. But essentially, you need someone on your team that can fight.
Yeah.
So you can win the fights. So that again, you end up with extra players on the ice because they're down a player, and 2, you don't end up losing your players to
their guys.
To your medical bay. Because if your guys go to the medical bay, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You don't want them there. So, and then otherwise, you just play in a league and
Super Blood Hockey.
Super Blood Hockey. It's on the Switch. I've been playing it on.
Oh gosh. That's awesome.
I beat the Untitled Goose Game. So there's a main story that you can follow.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to that part, and essentially you have to take something from you work your way through this little this village, and when you get to a certain part of this village, there's an item you take, and you have to make it all the way back past all the people you've pissed off with this item back to your house.
Which was the beginning of the game.
Which is the beginning of the game, it's your little nest, and take item back there. And I got there, and then the credits started to roll, and I'm like, that was really short for a $15, $20 game.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was not what I was expecting.
Wow.
And then it popped up and gave me because the game is like on a loose leaf piece of paper. It gives you your to-do list.
Yeah.
Like how to be a jerk of a goose. It gave me like 12 more pages of stuff that I can now do, and I'm like, oh, okay, like end game content. Whoof! Like I was kind of worried for a second there. Thank goodness, there is now end game content for me to explore. So that's good. And then, so I have to go do the end game content, but I've finished the main storyline.
Okay.
It's cute. It's fun. It's one of those ones where it's a puzzle game.
Yeah.
Like it very much is a puzzle game. Like you have to find out, like one of the things is, get a bucket onto this guy's head. Well, you find the bucket. Now it's like, how do you get it on top of the guy's head? So there's something I have to do to get the guy to the bucket or the bucket to the guy.
Yeah.
Which one is it? So you kind of play around with the bucket, and it's like, okay, the bucket does this, so I need to get the guy to the bucket. How do I get the guy to the bucket?
Yeah.
Like, do I have to drop something in front of him? Because everybody wants everything back where it started, sort of thing. So, like, if you drop something, they'll pick it up and take it to where it's supposed to go and put it back.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, like, what's over here
How do
that
I
he
manipulate
will
this guy?
get? Yeah, how do I manipulate him? And if he catches me, like, he boots me out, and I have to sneak back in. So there's, like, this, layered process to everything.
It's amazing that they were able to program that stuff in.
Oh, it's so cool. One of the challenges in the Goose Game is you pretty much restart the game.
Okay.
So you press a button and you have to restart from the beginning and finish each section before like the town church bell rings.
Oh.
So it's like a timed challenge, and I'm like, that's not gonna happen. Because that's not why I played the Goose Game.
No.
And then I've gotten further in River City Girls, which is the spiritual successor to River City Ransom. So you are two girls.
This game.
It's an old, like, ages old game. It's a beat 'em up. So you're on the street going like in that
up
plane of up and down system, and boom, 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 boom. Except now it is in newer graphics, so the girls have like all these extra moves to them. You can actually go to dojos and learn like extra steps to the moves and all of that stuff. And the two of them are looking for their boyfriends, who I believe are supposed to be like the guys from the original River City Ransom.
Yeah.
If they're not, then those guys are supposed to appear in the actual game. And you keep meeting people who give you quests. So one of the quests was like, oh, we're in like the slums of the city, like and all these people are parking their fancy cars, and like it makes people feel like they don't belong. Go blow up their cars. So you're sitting there punching cars till they like, very classic.
Very classic style.
Yeah. And then you do that and you gain experience and you get money. So you can buy health items, you can buy equipment, and you can equip 2 equipment pieces at a time. And those all do different things. So like one of them is as you walk around, you slowly gain back health. You do more damage to female characters or female enemies or male enemies. You do more damage to characters that are stuck on the ground. All of that kind of stuff. So I was fighting a boss and having a problem with it, and I equipped, she was a female, so I equipped the little thing and got through that one a little bit faster. And again, it's very much learn the rhythms of all of the things. And every time you die, you lose money, so it's very Borderlandsy in that way. Where it's like you've lost a percentage of your cash, and you're like, ugh. The one problem I have in that game is like I don't buy enough health items.
Oh, okay.
So it's my own fault because I could have beaten most bosses if I could have refilled my health bar, like 2/3 of the way into the fight. Like I get their health bar down to like that much, and then the bad guy does something, like the boss does something, and I only have like 1 sliver of health left, and I die. You can couch co-op that game, because there's the 2 females. There's the 2 girls, and they are both very different, so they have their own personalities as you go through the story. Like there's the dumb blonde, and then there's the other one who's the very like, I'm just gonna kick the crap out of you if you don't listen to me, and it's like, oh. So, fun game, cool game. I've been watching Fresh Off the Boat, so this is the season after Crazy Rich Asians lady went crazy on Twitter.
Oh, yes.
When Crazy Rich Asians got renewed.
Yes.
So, it's interesting to watch, knowing that she went on that kind of tirade of like, oh, why did the show have to get renewed? And you're like, Either way, Eddie Wong at this point is they're approaching the year 2000.
Uh,
And he is going to go to college, or like that's kind of the point that they're at, is like college years of Eddie. So that show's been on long enough now for him to
go to college.
Yeah, they have him going in that direction. I can see this kind of being the last season.
They're kind of running their course.
I guess so. And then I guess the biggest piece is the coolest part was for the episode we just watched, because they were dealing with Y2K, was it started off with the Matrix. And Y2K was going to destroy everything. So we got to be prepared. We got to do this, because there's the very like the one brother is very, very Asian in the way that he looked. Like, we should be practical about this. Mm-hmm. We should save our money. We should get supplies. We should do this. And then there's like Eddie, who's like, this is our last chance to have fun before the world goes to junk. And then there's the grandmother, who is very much like, Y2K's coming. Like, we can do whatever we want, and who cares?
Who cares?
Like, she starts just pouring her drink onto the carpet, because it's like, what are they gonna do when the world ends?
All the fears of Y2K.
All the fears of Y2K, and it's just funny watching it as, like, I never had a problem with Y2K when it rolled around. Like, we would joke about it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's like, nothing's gonna happen. If we haven't been able to program a computer to switch to 2000, like, you know,
go back to the year,
like, instead of rolling back to the year 0, we have issues.
We have issues. We were not smart.
We did something really stupid, because the 2 or the 1, there's a place value already there.
Yeah.
It should be able to go to 2. If I know how computers work, binary should be able to, and any coding should be able to roll that 1 into a 2.
And realize.
And lo and behold, we were correct. Again, either way, it's funny to watch it on
Y2K
this.
was great for all you youngins.
Yes, it was. So it's funny to watch it in the spectrum of, like, there are kids watching this who have no idea what Y2K is. And then for those of us who know, it's like, oh, you like.
Will they ever have something like that?
A Y2K?
In there, I don't know.
If their Fortnite accounts get hacked, sure. Like, but nothing global.
Nothing global, though.
Unless the internet legitimately goes down one day, like that will be a like.
I want to see that day.
It'd be nuts, man. Like, it's
crazy.
It's actually really funny in my line of work when, like, the internet goes down in our building.
Yeah.
How many people panic?
Like, they just can't function?
It's just like, well, but now my computer, like, it's useless. There's nothing on it. Like, it doesn't work. I need the internet to show like this video or this or that. Like, what do I do? And I'm like, if only we had like these whiteboard things with markers and paper and pencils.
Yeah. Like
I used to do.
Yeah.
Like, I remember my teacher had that thing for the chalkboard that would go across and make the lines so that they could, they could write like it was on paper.
Especially for music. Those were great for music class.
Music notes,
Writing
bars. The scales. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, I'm sitting there going, this isn't difficult, guys. Like, and everybody thought I'd freak out because I'm the big tech guy, and I'm just like, whatever. I can write on the board, they can write on paper, and everybody's hunky-dory. Like, whoop-de-doo. Life goes on.
Find a way.
Yeah, crazy how we existed without the internet before. And then I've continued watching The Good Place, which is
on its still keeping up with that
final season. So have you watched this season?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I like where things are kind of progressing.
Yeah.
I like how, again, it's that show where it's like, oh, we'll do this and it will resolve itself this way.
Yeah.
Especially with that misogynistic guy. Where they're like, we'll pull the Eleanor trick where all of these things are happening, and he's like, this is happening because of me, and they're like, yes, he's onto it. He's like, I don't belong here, and they're like, yes, and he's like, I belong in the best place, and you're like,
it's so that moment where you're like, yes, no. And you can see her die inside.
Yeah, I know, just also the Bortles.
Yes.
That little line that they got in there was just like absolutely hilarious for Jason's character.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sad that show is ending, but I'm very glad that they're ending because they want to end.
Yes. It's not.
Because we'll get the end.
Yes. How we want it.
How they want it, yeah. Yes. Not how, just all of a sudden it's like cliffhanger and it never comes back.
Yeah.
because that drives me absolutely insane.
I can't stand when that happens.
Mm-hmm. So, there. That is all I have watched. That is all I've played other than the one game that we have both played and finished, which we can talk about at the end of all of our stuff. So
good.
stay tuned.
Stay
For
tuned.
Borderlands 3 talk.
I had a migraine for 2 days, so I watched a whole bunch of old movies and 2 new movies.
From the romantic era of film?
No.
Oh.
Especially this one. 7. That's the one with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman.
Okay.
And they talk about the 7 deadly sins. Pretty creepy, pretty awesome movie. I really like that one. I'm not going to talk about these much because they're old movies, and I've probably, if you don't know what these are about, you should probably watch them.
All right.
Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. I watched next because
fun, interesting movie detail from the Reddit when she fights Lucy Liu's character.
Yeah.
Lucy Liu's character says she might not even last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
To obviously Uma Thurman's character. Uma Thurman beats her in 4 minutes and 59 seconds. That fight lasts 4 minutes and 59 seconds.
Quentin Tarantino always does these.
I don't like him as a guy.
No.
I like him as a director.
Yes.
Like he's a very good filmmaker.
He makes amazing movies.
Yeah.
But he is a terrible person.
As a person, he's a terrible person.
I'm pretty sure he's a terrible person. Again, another kick-ass movie. I forgot that she doesn't kill everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, the Volume 1 and 2 of Kill Bill are like, those are solid films. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's just a shame he's kind of a dick.
Yes.
I guess is the best way.
I think it's the way to put it.
Yeah.
Then I watched The Matrix.
The Matrix.
For just the first one.
Good. So the only one.
Yes.
Good.
Because it's the one, just like Neo's.
Just like
the
Neo's
one.
the one.
Which is funny. I heard they're gonna do some sort of.
They're doing another one.
Another one.
They're doing another one.
Wow.
And again, I loved how that movie ended.
Yes.
Very open-ended. It felt more like a horror movie to me the way it ended.
Yeah.
It's like, all this is still out there, and it's up to me to try and do something about it. And you're like, what is he ever going to do about it? And then they made... I appreciate the world building they tried to do.
Yeah.
I just don't think it never really connected.
Never really. And the thing I loved most about it leaving as a cliffhanger is that so many people started believing this was the Matrix.
Well, sure, you could have that opinion of
in the Matrix.
It's like, oh, we could
be.
That's a thought process. It's like, what if we are just all a mindless something floating out there somewhere else and projecting this in? What if what I'm seeing isn't really here? And I mean, other shows and movies have done that before. But yeah, that subversion of your reality and that reality, and then all of a sudden everything just goes stupid.
Yes.
And again, I like the deja vu. Is
vu.
So there's a glitch in the Matrix, and it's
explain why everything tastes like chicken.
Yeah.
It's great. Good movie.
It was a solid flick.
Yeah. Body of Lies. I watched. That's the one with Leonardo DiCaprio in the Middle East.
Okay.
Trying to help catch an Al-Qaeda leader.
Excellent.
It was kind of like one of those political military movies.
All right.
I didn't really pay attention to it much.
Brian's it was a film.
It was a film. I had a headache. I didn't really pay attention to what was going on. But they caught the guy, I guess.
Because that's how movies have to end, Brian.
Yeah. Terminator 2.
We were talking about
Terminator 2. I do love the Terminator 2.
Yeah.
That was such a great movie. It was a great superhero movie.
It was a superhero movie. That's definitely a superhero movie.
It's totally a superhero. So, but my question is, because they're making the third one, he kills himself at the end.
They've already made the third one. Terminator 3 is a movie.
Well, but in James Cameron's words...
I know, so now they're making...
They're not canon.
I know. Well, they haven't been canon forever, so...
Yeah.
A lot of the movies have skipped number 3 in canon. So even the Sarah Connor Chronicles TV show skipped it.
Yes.
They did a lovely time jump where it's like, oh, you're going to get cancer and die. Let's go to the future and save it. So they just skip 3.
Through.
And it's like... Solid move. All the other movies have pretty much, even the last one where it's like, oh, he's gone back in time to Terminator 1 and then skipped ahead. They kind of, they're like, if we just skip 3, what happened? So yes, they're making another one that's supposed to be 3 or whatever it is.
And then I noticed a movie detail that I've never heard anyone talk about yet. Probably people have talked about this. And I wonder if they're going to just in Terminator 3. So you know the whole premise of Terminator 2, they want to destroy everything about the robots so that Skynet cannot build these robots. In one battle scene, he rips off his arm.
Yes.
He doesn't take that with him to get thrown in. So somewhere in the world still, there's that arm.
Oh, sure.
What happens to that?
Yes.
And they did not worry about it or address it at all at the end of that movie.
Why worry about it? You had his thumb come up as he went into the liquid.
So I wonder if they'll address that. But anyways, cool movie.
Cool movie. And I mean, all you have to do is Skynet will always just find a way.
Yeah, Skynet will find a way.
Like, the future is inevitable, I think, is kind of supposed to be the premise of those movies. Is essentially, like, no matter what you do, we still end up in the same place.
Yeah.
Because human nature is to just keep going.
Keep going, yeah. Then I watched Sum of All Fears with Morgan Freeman
I was gonna
again.
say Morgan Freeman.
And-
Morgan Freeman kick, I guess. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, what's his face? Batman.
Which one?
The most recent one.
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. I knew his name. I don't know why I could not. I swear that's a brain fart. This was a very interesting political movie. Had a lot of twists and turns to it.
I
Not
remember
twists and turns, but a lot of, like, details.
I remember seeing it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was a movie.
Brian's just like, I'm barreling through this list.
And then these two newer movies I watched was Between Two Ferns, the movie.
Oh,
With
yes.
Zach Galifianakis.
Yep.
So, this was just a weird movie.
Well, it's a weird show.
It's a weird show. But, like, the movie just gets even more weird.
Good.
I don't know. Like, it's Zach Galifianakis.
Yep.
And his
Brand
quirkiness.
of comedy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I don't even know what to say about this.
So is it still like an interview show,
No,
or did
no.
they break away from
They
that?
they completely, like, they have tidbits about his interviews
Yeah.
there. And I don't know if it's a spoiler.
But is it his character from
It
that
is his
show
character,
doing
yes.
things? Okay.
Yes, it is his
So
character.
it's not Zach Galifianakis
No,
doing
no,
things.
it's
It's that
that
character
character
of Zach Galifianakis.
with real life people coming
Obviously,
in with cameos
yes.
nonstop.
All right.
So it is about
Two ferns.
building and making this show even more than just what it is.
Cool.
And whether or not he succeeds or fails, it's pretty much his journey to make this show even better.
Better. All right.
Or to just bring it to a bigger audience in a way. And obviously there's hiccups here and there.
Obviously.
And it's Zach Galifianakis.
You mean there are problems within the story to drive the story forward?
Yes.
Whoa. That's
And it's usually the problems are because of him.
good. Man versus self. Always
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah.
Always a great antagonist. That's why I've always laughed when we talk about story structure in movies. How there is rising action and then falling action, and this is a story.
Yeah.
It is a triangle. It is a pyramid. We rise, and then
You have your
we
climax.
with the climax, and then the denouement and
Yeah.
everything that happens in the epilogue, like everything, like the falling action, and then your epilogue and
Yeah.
your ending. I have never seen a movie like this.
No.
I've never read a book like this. I've always hated that. Movies are a mountain range, man.
I guess, yes.
There's a rising action. There is something that happens. There is always a fall in action.
Yeah.
Then there's a rise.
Something.
It is a rising mountain range until, yes, the climax of the story, in which case you then have the tail end. But the tail end is still,
It
like...
still has its, like...
It's up here. Like, your beginning of your movie's
Yeah.
here. If your movie ends down here, I think you've done a horrible
You've done a
job of
horrible
writing a
job.
movie. Like, that was the worst ending ever.
Yeah.
I've always wondered
think-
about that, because that's one of those things I don't teach.
Mhm.
Like, I teach beginning, middle, end.
Yeah.
Your story has to have a start. Stuff has to happen, and then it has to
Has
end.
to end, yeah.
Like, there has to be beginning, middle, end. The middle, though, is all over the place.
It's a wave.
Yeah, like, it's...
Yeah.
Because there's yet to be a movie I've watched in recent times where it's like, big climactic
Big
battle,
climactic
and
battle.
now we're going to lead towards the end of the, Because that's the thing, like, I even remember that in school where they're like, where's the climax? And I'm like, there's like 8.
Yeah.
Like, even in Shakespeare, it's like, well, these people fought, and these people fought, and these people fought. Like, those... Yeah, but which one was, like, the climactic,
climactic
fight? And
the,
I'm
the
like...
tip.
Well, the tip's there, but, like, if you're calling this rising action, there's falls.
Yeah.
Because these
there's
guys
gonna be a
fight,
little bit
and
of
then
a-
people talk things through. You can't call that rising action.
No.
Like, that's why I've always laughed at that one, because that's a good example of that.
Oh,
where
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
a guy hits problems.
Has to deal with those
problems are resolved, which is your... Then we ramp up to the next problem. then there is the climax.
Yeah.
The climax is something in a story. It is
Yeah.
the final action thing that resolves the problem.
Yeah.
And then yes, resolution.
Could you imagine if a video game was just this all the time?
Right, but that's
Oh my God.
essentially
Video games, you have a boss, and then you can kind of like
right. And I've always
boss,
that's kind of how I've
boss,
always thought about
big
it.
boss.
And every boss leads you like wanting more. Again, like the game we're going to kind of talk about is the story should leave you throughout it, making you go like, oh, I need to find out what happens next.
Yeah.
But not to the point where you're just like, yeah. Like it's not that kind of climax.
No.
You know.
But
that's the thing. It's like, bring me up to a point, and as this falls, leave me with a tidbit that makes me want to keep climbing that mountain, and then until I do get to that final something, and that's where it's like, oh, now it all makes sense.
Yes, I concur.
But that's just one of those things when you say like he runs into his own problems, like here, there, and everywhere. It's like good. So good storytelling.
And it definitely is a man versus self. I think.
With that character, I can very much see where he would get his own
Zach
way.
Galifianakis,
like Mr. Bean was usually a man versus self character. His
exactly.
Him being an idiot, he created all his own problems.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Then I watched a new Netflix movie called The Experiment.
Awesome.
This one had Lawrence Fishburne.
Okay.
In it.
Excellent.
Any other big people? Sorry, I have to check.
The Experiment.
So the premise of this movie: this researcher wants to do a sociology experiment, selects different people, separates them in a group as the prisoners and the bodyguards.
All right.
And he just wants.
We've heard of this one before. Like this has been a thing.
Yeah. And he says the researcher lays some ground rules.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I guess this is from 2010, and now it's on Netflix. I did not know that.
There you go.
Oh yeah, Adrian Brody. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Forrest Whitaker.
Sorry, who did I say?
Lawrence Fishburne.
Sorry, I meant Forrest Whitaker.
You're good.
Sorry.
You're good.
Sorry.
And then a bunch of other people.
Yes, and I don't think there's any other big names.
Nothing that's standing out.
Yeah.
No. So one of those social experiments where it's the prisoners versus the guards.
Both guards, yeah. So
colleges have done this before and gotten in trouble for it.
And that's exactly where it ends up going.
Oh, what do you know?
Yeah.
Cool.
People with higher power will abuse it.
Really?
And the ones without the power will revolt.
In all honesty, this is one of those things where, like, I would honestly like to be involved in the experiment. Because I feel like I would not, if I were a guard, abuse the power because that's the person I feel like I am. So I would really like to, like, test that out.
So there is one person who's a guard.
Yeah.
Who does not want to do this.
Yeah.
I guess it's from 2010. If you haven't seen this, there's no spoilers, right?
To hell with it.
He stands up, but all the other assholes, like, and I guess this is understandable, if every other single guard is an asshole, they will beat the crap out of this guy and put him as a prisoner.
Sure.
Now, in my stances, I don't know, I would fight back still. I don't know, like
I don't know. That's what I mean. Like it would be interesting.
It depends who else is there too, right? And if all those other people will like beat the crap out of me and put me in my place.
Yeah.
Right. And that's essentially what this is. This whole movie is about is how long will you stand up until people beat the crap out of you enough
to turn you. Interesting. Because again, like I've heard of that experiment before, and that's always been my thought process is. I would like to kind of be involved just to see where I would land on things.
I'm surprised like it's never done in a video game kind of sense. Or like in a virtual way. Like why can't people do this experiment in a virtual way where no one actually gets hurt?
I think the biggest thing is you need time.
Oh yeah.
And that's the piece is like a video game, like they've kind of done games like that.
Yeah.
Where, you know, you're this person against that person or this team versus that team and both teams have different objectives.
Right.
And again, a lot of the times the video game, the objective is what sets you forward. Whereas this is like, these are prisoners, you are guards. They are to like stay on, like there's no objective.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess.
Like
right.
your objective as a prisoner isn't to escape.
No. It's
Your
just
objective
us.
is to live as a
Be-
prisoner.
yeah.
Your objective as a guard is to make sure that they maintain their routine
Yeah.
and, you know, do that kind of thing. Like, and that's my thing is, like, I feel like even if I was the prisoner, it would be like, we need you to go do this. And it's like, okay, that's part of my routine. Like, I'll eat my food and I'll do
Yeah.
my thing and da-da-da-da. Like, I will be a model prisoner.
Prisoner.
And then again, that's the piece is I understand where the prisoner aspect comes in, where if a guard's like, well, now you have to do this. And it's like, well, that's not part of my routine. Like,
Yeah.
that's not part of
That's
what
not part of my routine.
what my job is here. No.
No.
And then that abuse of power there.
Starts.
But that's
yeah.
coming from somewhere else. Again, if I'm the prisoner in that sense, I'm going to be like, well, no, because that's not what
That's
I'm
not what-
supposed to
yeah.
be doing. That's not what
And
you're
I know
supposed
you're
to be
abusing
doing.
your job now.
Like, now you're not doing your job. Like, this isn't right. I'd like to speak to your superior, please. Like, and again, as a guard, I'd be like, my job is to make sure that, like, I bring the person their food on time
Yeah.
and that they get outside and do this. And, like, I guess I'm too much of a, like, oh, this is my job. And this is what I'm required
I think
to
we're
do.
both those kind of like.
And I'll push boundaries when I think something's unfair or something's
Yeah.
like not quite in the realm of that. But again, it's not against the other people that I'm in. Like, it would be against the higher people.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't take it out on prisoner number 6.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm unhappy with, this guy today. I'm taking it out on you. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why I would love to be involved in something like that. And yes,
Good sociology experiment.
yes, virtually you would have to have people existing in that space for a long enough time, because I think that's
Yes.
where it finally settles.
Where boredom creates
the need for
the
something.
need for something. Yeah.
But again, if you are a guard, you should be going home.
Yes, that too.
Because again, the experiment
And then
is
you have your shift work.
right. The experiment is false if you are constantly there.
Because then you're a prisoner too.
Correct. So I can see again the prisoners getting a little wiry
Yeah.
because they can't leave.
Yeah. I actually don't know how a prison system works. How long do guards stay at that site? Like, do they go home every day? Or... This is completely off video games now.
It is.
Or movies. But I'm just wondering, like, do guards stay there for a week?
I don't know.
And then they go home and it's like a 7 on 7 off kind of work shift?
I don't know.
Or I have no idea.
I don't know.
And then they just act out on these prisoners because they're bored? I don't know.
And maybe, and again, there's the peer pressure, and if you get that one guy who's not, quite right.
Quite right. Yes.
Because again, that's the piece, is like, there's a lot of stressors in a job, and I understand that, but as a healthy adult with a healthy brain, we should
Yeah.
be able to regulate and go like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm stressed because this is happening. It's not this person's fault. It's the system's thing. I have to talk to someone about making this part right.
Yeah.
It's not like, this person is causing me stress, so I'm going to make them drink toilet water.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's
I don't
one
know.
of those, I'm not quite sure.
Sure.
It'd be an interesting, like, I agree it's interesting.
It's one of those things where I think
It's-
I could do better.
It's inhumane. Like, it's an inhumane experiment, and I
Yeah.
understand that part too. But it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I can do.
I think
do
I
that
could
better.
do that better.
I think I could do that better.
Yeah.
I would like to participate. I think I can do that better. Because again, like, you put someone like Obama in there,
Yes. It really depends who you put in there.
right? So again, what kind of tests are you doing to the people you're putting in? Because
Yes.
again, those people shouldn't be hired as guards without having to go through. And again, any guard.
Yeah.
Same with police and everything. It's like they should be having to go through psychological evaluations,
Mm-hmm.
which like in our city they do.
They should have a proper training regimen.
There's proper training regimen. Obviously, they should have to talk to a professional
Yeah.
on a constant basis
Yeah.
because depending on their job, the stresses of that job, like
Yeah. If you have a traumatic moment, you have to be debriefed and
very much so.
see a
Like
counselor.
there's all sorts of little things in place. So that's the other part of the experiment is, yeah, if you're just picking random people,
and you kind of put anarchy in there.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's the piece. Is like it's not quite the perfect experiment.
Yes.
Because
I agree.
there's not all of those pieces in place.
Yeah.
I guess is the hard, like that's the, it's a cool experiment in my brain as a social experiment,
Yeah.
but at the same time it's like, well, who's in charge? well, you guys can figure it out. Well, no, like, there should be someone here who's in charge, and since you're in charge of everything, who's in charge?
Yeah. It's kind of like this movie, I guess, is kind of like a science experiment where you're like, what happens when I add this thing to this? And then it goes poof, and you're like, oh!
Yeah. It's,
you're not really
it's that kind of experiment.
It's not,
And I get it as an experiment if you're like, if I put these people, and you have done psychological testing going like, oh, I'm going to put, you know, this really strong, you know, willed person with this very weak-willed person, and like you want to see how they'll interact with each other. Very much an experiment. But if you're just trying to judge it on like the prison system, it's one of those things where it's like, well, but see the prison system, like there's wardens and there's these people and there's those people and there's like
there's so many other factors
steps.
and
So. And again, it's not like those steps just disappear. Cool movie though. Sounds cool.
It started out as interesting, but then I got to that point where it's like, I don't think I would have done that. I think I could have done better.
Right.
So, anyways.
As you're saying, I'm a better person than all of these people.
And then the thing I've really been spending my time on, well, it's not a lot of time because they're really short episodes. The YouTube video called Kurzgesagt, which essentially means, in a nutshell, in German. It is not in German. I'm pretty sure you could watch it in German, but this one's in English. And it's really cool animation. It's all cartoon animation of describing science, be it biology, physics. Like I watched a thing about ants.
Okay.
That's what they're currently on right now is ants, and their big social aspects of ants, and how there's actually currently going on a world war of ants, and it's actually really interesting.
I hope the ones in my yard lose. Because they are a pain in my butt.
I will talk to you later about a way to get rid of them, maybe. That I watched on the YouTube.
I don't know if it
actually
Well, the
works.
thing about my ants, like we have peonies, so we need ants.
Oh, okay.
So we need some ants.
Yeah.
I just don't need as many ants. Like if they could contain themselves to like one part of my yard, I'd be fine with them. Because again, that's my thing about ecosystems and animals and bugs and all of that junk. Yeah. If you contain yourself to a smaller part of my area, we're cool. We can coexist. But when I have like 4 mounds on my front lawn, it's like, guys,
come on now.
Come on, this is getting ridiculous. Because now I have to mow over like all 4 of these things. If you could just contain yourself to here, we could be okay.
Which reminded me, because I thought about the exact same thing. And it brought me back to the Matrix movie I watched, where, you know, like Agent Smith is like, humans are the only ones that are like viruses. And ants are actually very much like humans. We consume an area and we move on.
Yeah.
And ants are very much like that. It's why they have an ant war going on right now.
Because they're fighting for space?
Yeah, space and resources and food. So
there's plenty in my yard.
Yes.
Plenty of resources.
Apparently, the ants are 20% of the organic life on Earth.
Well, there's a lot of them under there.
There's a lot of species. There's like 16,000 species or something.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
and there's
cool.
only like 4 in Ant-Man.
There's only 4, yeah. And then there's a wasp. No. I'm just kidding. Then I watched another one where it talks about black holes. Super interesting.
Cool.
And how to create a black hole bomb. But to create this black hole bomb, we would probably need to consume resources off 4 different planets.
I was going to say, like, you would need so much energy and whatnot.
To consume this.
All right.
Yeah, it's super cool. But so this black hole bomb could also be, it's almost like a nuclear bomb.
Sure.
In terms of there's this huge potential of energy that you can build up.
Yeah. And then
you just unleash it. But then it's also talking about how we could use that as an infinite source of energy for trillions of years.
I was going to say, isn't that kind of the idea behind the black hole? That's why we want to know more, is because it is this perpetual, just generating...
It's sucking in all of this stuff, and it's spinning so fast that it's just an energy funnel.
Yeah.
And it's be super cool. And they animate this really well. Like, I should show you the animation. The animation is fantastic.
Because wasn't that kind of the fear with the Hadron Collider? Was like it was going to open up this black hole that was just going to start consuming everything?
Yeah.
See, I never had that worry even when they were talking about that one either. I'm like, I feel like the scientist people wouldn't let that happen.
I'm sure.
Like maybe in Russia.
Maybe, yeah.
Because, they care less about human life in certain places in the world. Maybe that's where that kind of stuff will happen. But, the Hadron Collider's in Sweden.
Yes.
Yeah, like those people
it goes
care.
across several borders, I think.
Yeah, but like they care.
They care.
The Swedish people care.
'Cause
Like
those
there's regulations
there's
when it comes to
regulations.
Swedish,
Yes.
science.
They don't want to destroy the planet and
No.
the universe.
They just want science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Like
want more science.
And I think it was just like, okay, guys, there is like a 1 in 8 bajillion chance that we're gonna open a black hole. Like that's
Yeah.
one of the possibilities here is that it's gonna happen. Chances are it's gonna hit and we're gonna go, whoa.
It's like the chances of the Avengers beating Thanos.
Right. Wait, they
Which
did
happens.
that though.
Pretty cool. I'd highly recommend you watch it.
If you're a science kind of esque typer, they break it down for like you know
yes.
me, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
yes.
yeah.
You don't have to know. You don't,
Science.
yeah. They explain it like you're 5.
Yeah.
Well, maybe like 16 or something.
Oh no. Nick out.
Super cool though.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I've been watching Game Grumps. That's pretty much been my thing. So I think I was talking about it last week or just on voice chat, but they played Kirby's Dream Course, which is Kirby Golf.
Yeah.
For the Super Nintendo, and they loved it so much some people modded the game and made Grumps versions of Kirby
Yeah.
and like 150 courses for them to play.
That's awesome.
So it's like their own little game to play.
They have their own game to play.
And I've been watching them all in succession because I've just been going through all of their backlog of stuff.
Yeah.
So like there's a ton of these episodes, and the best part is because they don't play them the same way. Like they played a bunch of it and then they took a break. So like they'll come back and be like, "Oh, it's been a while since we've played this game." Da, 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 da. They are starting to replay levels because they've forgotten what they've gone through, and they're like, "This one seems familiar," and I'm like, "It is." And for me, I legitimately watched it 3 episodes ago. To them, they're like, No. This is just like a collection. We've probably played these levels, but not in this order. And I'm like, yes,
you have.
So that one's been funny to watch.
I like the Game Grumps.
And then Seth Meyers, I've been watching too. Just as he's been very good with all the political stuff. I found that Colbert's kind of just Colbert's less of the political thing at this point. And Seth Meyers is actually trying to like point out how bad things are, whereas Colbert is just like, what can I use as a stand-up joke and it'll work? Like he's gone off the Jon Stewart route of things and is now just like, I'm a late show host. Whereas Seth Meyers is still kind of like, guys, we need to be combating this crazy man and doing that kind of stuff. So again, getting a little political. The one thing I hate about Game Grumps is I want to play all the games that they play.
Oh, yeah.
Because it does seem like so much fun. Like, there's one they're playing right now called Heave Ho.
Yeah.
Where they're 2 guys with, like, arms, and that's the entire game is, like, grabbing with your arms and trying to beat puzzles.
Yeah.
And you have to play it with someone else. It's very much like a couch co-op, up to 4 people trying to get through these things.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't play it on my own, and then the game's too expensive just to play. Like, that's why I'm like, I should check out what this game is, and it's like $25. And I'm like, oh, it's just too much. I'll just watch them play it. But
we gotta start
every time I like, I know we gotta start playing again. But either way, speaking of playing together, we played a game. Hold on, let's see if I can find it. It's been a while.
It's for Borderlands 3. We don't want to
spoil
anything.
There it is. The spoiler tag is on the screen. Like spoilers for Borderlands 3.
Woo.
So if you have not finished Borderlands 3, stop listening. You have 5 seconds. Here goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to talk about Borderlands 3. That was 5 actual seconds. I watched the timestamp clock. We beat it.
We beat it.
I beat it before y'all.
Yes, you did.
I
only beat it because I had 2 days off.
And
so migraine.
I just kept going. Like we kind of talked about
intriguing.
this. This story is one of those stories where it's like you start off and you're like, okay, these bad guys are kind of basic bad guys and whatnot, and then
it pulls you in.
Well, it does pull you in. They get way more evil as the game goes, because that was kind of one of those like, Tony was worried that it was just going to be like, oh, they're influencers. And there's going to be annoying influencers, and that's going to be their shtick the entire game. But they start killing people. They start taking people out, like just the way they behave. You're like, oh my god. And it gets to the point where legitimately by the end of the game, it's like I just want to see the world burn.
Yes.
Like I want to absorb the universe and just like it's done.
Yeah.
That last boss fight, like not to get too spoilery, but that last boss fight, stupidly easy.
Yes, a lot
compared
easier.
to the one right before it.
Oh my gosh, which I guess we could say no. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, spoilers again, but you don't fight the twins at the same time.
No.
You fight one of them first, so you end up fighting
Troy.
Troy first, and that boss fight is a giant pain in the butt.
Yes, very hard.
You definitely have to be able to shoot flying enemies in your second wind mode. Yeah, like the chance before you, because that's the only way to get back up in that level. Yeah. What I did find I tended to start doing single player was with the enemy mobs, I would shoot them not till they died. But so all the enemy mobs that were flying around or around me had like that much health left.
Of health.
So when I did go down and needed the second wind, I just had to like shoot them once and I was back up. And that's kind of the strategy I had to play with, because
the thing that annoyed, like there were tanks that you could shoot,
but
he could kill them.
Yes, he would blow them up.
And
so you had to go for the racks,
which I'm terrible. If you have seen me play like first-person shooters, my aiming is garbage.
Yeah, Brian aims a little always to the wrong direction.
I'm always shooting where they are and not where they are going to be. And I know that strategy in my head, and I try, and I just...
It's here, but it doesn't quite connect.
I am one of the worst first-person shooters, I think, that I know.
No, you've beaten other people in Call of Duty, so there's people who are worse.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yep.
I've had good days.
You've had good days.
But it's... First-person shooters is a hate and lovers relationship. I love them to death, but
just not that great.
I am terrible at them. It's like...
See, and I'm usually not great at
it's like
them.
Sports.
Yeah. I'm usually not great at them. But Borderlands, just because like there's aim assists and all that stuff going, where I'm better at them, because I don't like, it's not like I'm scoping any. Like I never really look down iron sights in Borderlands. I just shoot. Yeah. Well, now you have a gun that just sends out a laser.
Yeah. I did find one strategy with Troy that worked.
Yes.
So you know how you come in to the area?
Yes, there's an area.
There's those two pillars on the side.
Yes.
You pick one of them.
Yeah.
You can just stand right your back to it. Well, I also had to get to level 44.
Okay.
And get a really good shield. Because if I got hit by an orb, I would not get one hit. So I did have to go and like buff myself up.
Yeah.
To buff up my shields and mows.
Well, see, and again, I think going off of that, I think that's also part of it is like you don't pay attention to your shield.
No.
Like you're out leveling things, but not really looking again. That's where the item system doesn't quite work.
No, yeah.
Because something could lower the stats, but because of all the other stuff attached to it, be a better shield. It just doesn't look like it because it looks like the numbers are going down. But really, it's like your shield that you've been using, you're like, but it's great and all the stats are good, but it's really meant for a level 23 and you're level 40.
Yeah.
So you should have upgraded your shield like six times
by now.
But you haven't, because it looks like the numbers don't play right, but they actually do.
Yes.
So that's where the game falters, in my opinion, is very much. And we've had that problem since Borderlands 1. Yeah. We don't know what bloody guns do and what all the levels mean and all of that stuff, and it's just like, because I was using a shotgun where again the numbers weren't quite going, but if I shot people, it was barely doing anything, and I finally just like, I got a new shotgun and I'm like, okay, I'll equip it. So I equipped it, and all of a sudden it's like my shotgun was doing shotgun worthy damage, even though damage wise the numbers were red, so it meant that it was worse.
Yes, I completely understand what you mean.
So I still don't quite understand how equipment works
I still don't.
in the game. So at this point, if I get something and it's a better level, and it's of a brand I like, I pretty much just equip it and go.
I don't look at the other smaller stats because sometimes I see that it's red, but I'm like, nope, I like this gun has been working better for me.
Right. So I'll keep the old gun. Like, it's not like I'll immediately get rid of it just in case it doesn't work out. But for the most part, like, I switch guns and it's like, I am now doing more damage. Holy smokes. And I started noticing it because I switched out one of my pistols and like it was doing more damage than my assault rifle and my shotgun, and I'm like,
damn.
But what?
Yeah. I know, it doesn't make sense to me in my head.
No.
That this pistol is better than this assault rifle.
But it's because I actually equipped a pistol that was meant for my level as opposed to the assault rifle,
Yes.
which I haven't upgraded in 10 levels. And as soon as I upgraded that assault rifle, because I'm like, maybe it's because it's too low a level?
Yeah.
So I found one that was of a better item level, equipped it, and
It was.
all of a sudden I'm
Played a
doing
lot
like
better.
all of a sudden it's like two-shotting people again, and I'm like,
Huh?
that is the
Even
problem.
though the numbers were red.
Even though the numbers were red, like
Yeah.
that's the big piece.
That's the thing. But yeah, my new strategy was standing in that corner, dodging all the orbs. I timed the time to jump
Yes,
when Troy comes at you.
just well enough.
I timed it so I would not get hit. I would get hit by those purple waves.
Yep.
But my shield was strong enough that I would not get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I would not get into the red bar.
Yep.
And then I just shot at him for the whole time. It took me like 10 minutes. Which is long.
That is a lot, yeah. There was a fight before him. I think it's Billy the Anointed.
Oh, yes.
That was the one that took me forever.
With most players, it's not bad. You go into your mech, you have tons of armor,
Okay.
and you just shoot him down.
See,
so-
it just took forever to beat him because
Yeah.
whatever his shield was,
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't get through.
Yeah.
And even when it looked like he wasn't holding it, he was still immune to anything I was shooting at him. So like it
Oh,
was
sorry, I'm
like
thinking of
that
someone else.
perpetual, like he's a purple guy, pretty
And
big,
he always had the shield pointing to you.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. That one was a pain in the
and it
butt.
just took forever. It
It
wasn't
did.
like it was a long or a hard fight. Like I was
No.
just running around like, and he's like, it's not doing anything. So I like run around to it, and I'm like, maybe I just have to like. So I like unloaded, I don't know how many clips on him, and it's still just like immune, and I'm going.
Immune, yeah.
So you run up, and it's like whack, and it's like immune, and I'm going, okay.
Okay.
I have shot him, I have punched him, I have like jumped on him and smashed in an attempt to like do something there. I have unloaded bullets. I've taken like precision shots at like his feet, his hands,
head.
his head,
Almost
like nothing, and I'm going.
Immune.
And then every once in a while I'd shoot him and it would do damage.
do
So you're just like, okay,
damage, yeah.
shoot.
I had to run back and forth around that.
Yeah,
pillar
that's
a
what I
lot.
think I ended up
Like,
doing. But I'm
yeah.
like, that's a horrible game mechanic. If
It
that's
was
the
terrible.
fight, that was a
So
brutal
that was a
fight.
terrible fight.
Yep.
Troy was a terrible fight. A lot of people on the internet, like I did, start googling like
Yeah.
tips for fighting Troy. No one had tips other than this one lady had a way of ending him, but like by I think it was a glitch.
Yep.
And I was like, no, I don't want to do it that way, and I couldn't do it that way anyways.
Right.
But a lot of people were having problems, and a lot of people were saying Troy needs to get nerfed somehow, or
And I don't feel like he does because he is an end boss.
Yeah.
It
And with friends, it's a lot.
Yes, it
better.
felt end bossy to me due to difficulty.
Yeah.
And it was like, cool.
And I think that's definitely what they were going
Yeah, so
for
I'm-
based on what happens after.
Right, so I'm kind of okay with his boss fight being that tough.
Yeah.
It just makes me laugh because then you get to the actual final boss fight.
yeah.
And,
So,
like, we did it together
yeah.
with Chris. And it didn't take much.
No.
But that's about what it took for me to do it on my own.
Yeah.
Like, that end boss fight is not that difficult compared. So I feel like Troy was definitely supposed to be like final boss material,
Yeah.
thus the difficulty, thus how long it took,
Yeah.
thus like
It's almost as if Tyrene should have been in that position,
Yes.
and then Troy would have.
Yes.
That at least game mechanic should have been
yeah. But I kind of
so-
understand it because they also want you at the end of the game to kind of feel powerful.
Yes.
So your final boss fight's really Troy, and then yeah, spoilers, but like Tyrene is kind of like the I'm an all-powerful god now, and you're like, no, you're not,
Very nice.
because I'm me, and I'm kick butt.
I can kill gods.
Yeah, I can kill a god, and then you get I watched all the credits.
I didn't because someone said press circle, so I pressed circle, and then it ended.
I watched all the credits. So one, it's gonna if people are gonna because sometimes streamers talk during credits.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's gonna get all of their streams hit because Alicia Keys sings and then
Yes.
another band sings. Like there's actual licensed
Yeah.
music for like 3 songs.
That's one thing I want to say about Borderlands 3. The music is incredible.
Yes,
I
they
love
did do a good job. of that.
like if I think the soundtrack is available, and I was leaning towards buying this. I don't usually buy music.
Well, I stream all of my
Yeah,
music because
but-
that's what we do nowadays, Brian. Get into the 2019s.
Well, I'm still sucking Y2K. No.
I want iTunes. Yeah, no,
I
the
thought the
music's killer.
soundtrack of this. Anyways, yes.
But yeah, the credits. Here's my problem with the credits. It was a single column of names. And then at one point, and I said this last week, they actually gave people the ability to write like a special thank you.
Oh yeah.
So, like you could
gotta...
you could write whatever you wanted. Like, I'd like to thank my dog for all the support that they've given me throughout the last few months. And we didn't think we'd make it, boys, but boy howdy, we have. And we played real hard and we passed the puck and we did. Like it almost sounds like a hockey interview at that point. But like people were writing huge chunks, and I'm like, this isn't a grad. Like this isn't a thing. Like, why are we doing this? This isn't a yearbook.
Yeah.
This isn't anything like that. Why?
Why?
Why is this happening? And so it's like, why is this happening? Like, no go.
No go.
Either way, I watched them all. Because
very good of you.
Sometimes you get an achievement. I wasn't actually watching for.
I did really like the music. I would have watched it for the music.
Well, and the music gets pretty boring.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It just becomes kind of
Gamey music.
plain credit music, yeah. After like 2 or 3 songs, and it lasts a long time. When you go single column for your credits, it lasts a long time.
Lasts a long time.
After you beat the game, though, was it Mayhem mode?
Yes.
Opens up. So Mayhem mode,
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, there's a statue on the ship, and you can plug in a little thing. So again, it makes the game harder, but it also gives better rewards.
Yes.
So it's one of those like, oh, this could be cool to do. And again, the other night I was playing, and I don't think you were on. I think it was Chris and Tony.
Oh, okay.
But I was trying. I'm like, I'll finish off planets slowly. So Athenas has that one reading thingy.
Oh yeah.
At the very end
the
of the
alien
level.
language.
The alien language thing, the Iridian language thingy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'll go read it. Well, the only fast travel place on that is the drop ship.
Right.
Either way, I had just I've been playing around with the Mayhem mode thing, and I'm like, oh, like you said, it's level 2. I see how this works now, because the first time you just plug it in and it's like, cool. So I moved it to level 2, not thinking about it, and then went to Athenas, and I'm like, oh, I'll just run through the level.
Yeah.
Well, it was set to Mayhem mode level 2, and I legitimately I fought my way through that level, and I'm like, oh, thank
my
God. And then I remembered at the end of a level, there's boss fights.
Right, because the bosses do respawn.
The bosses respawn, so you can kill them again. And I'm just like, why have I done this to myself? Because it's useless for me to go back, turn it off, and then run through the level again, because I'm right there.
You're right there.
So I
Who's
fought
the boss again?
That was
I just need to feel your pain.
Stunt or Stint or whatever his name. The guy with he was the mech guy who shot fire and ice.
Oh yes.
General Taunt.
Taunt.
Yeah.
The first brother.
Yeah, you had to fight him and his waves of bad guys that would come out, and I'm just like, hey. So it took me a couple tries, but I did beat him, and he dropped better loot because I was using Mayhem mode, and none of the stuff that I ended up using. But it's one of those things where I'm just like, okay. So now it's looking at where legendaries are supposed to be dropping from, hunting those down, because now that I'm level 50, the legendary that will drop is
should be level 50.
If I'm using Mayhem mode, it'll actually have increased stats on it too, because it's meant for like that kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, now it's going back and trying to get all of the things and become even better and more powerful. The Guardian ranks.
Yes.
Same thing. And then there's trials you can do, which are essentially timed trials involving killing things.
Yeah.
I think a lot of those time trials, I'm not sure if we can do them as a group, but some of them are like, beat it with 25 minutes left, and they give you 30 off the bat, and I'm like...
This reminds me of that. Have you done the burger...
Yeah, the burger deliveries.
It's like, finish within 9 minutes, and you start with 9 minutes and 30 seconds or something?
So if you shoot signs, there's signs you can shoot.
Oh, there's signs? Yeah. I was like, what?
From his competitors. If you shoot those, you gain more time, but... I've shot those signs, and it still gets you to 8.5 minutes, 8.5 minutes, 8.5 minutes, and I'm like, I'm shooting everything I can while driving. This is stupid.
Yeah, I hated those ones.
I hated those ones.
Repeatable.
They are, because they want you to keep doing it. It's income. You can just keep delivering burgers.
You don't get that much income, though, I felt.
No. You gotta get more income from selling stuff, yeah.
Which brings me to loot.
Looting.
I think I complained about this last time.
Yep.
Legendaries seem lackluster. I do not hold on to any legendaries for longer than
Your
a level.
legendaries essentially, like, as they go up in those ranks,
Yeah.
they just get extra things at the bottom.
Yeah,
So, like,
that's it.
if you pick up a green, it's only going to have one boost
One.
to it, whereas a purple's going to have 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
Yeah. That's really all it is. I have one legendary I've kept, and it sucks because I'd like it again. It's one of my shotguns.
Oh, your shotgun.
And it's supposed to replicate the Doom shotgun from Doom.
Oh.
And I didn't know that until I was reading online because I'm like, I'd like it again, but at level 50. And again, that's one of those things where, like, Iridium, which is the purple money in the game, I'd like to be able to spend that money and upgrade the levels of my guns.
Yeah.
And it could take a bunch of Iridium.
Yeah.
But that's a good way for me to waste...
1 Iridium per level increase or something.
Or something stupid. But I'd like to be able to spend my Iridium to level up some of these guns. Because, again, I looked online and it's like, best is to find it on a loot tank.
Yeah.
But it just falls randomly on any planet. And I'm like, so essentially I just have to keep killing people till hopefully it falls?
So, yeah, pretty much.
Like,
RNG!
It's 2 RNG, though. Like, I can't hunt that down.
Yeah.
So I have it. It's in my bank. I'm going to use it on, like, my hunter once I get flak up to the right level to use it, but it's like, that sucks that I can't go and get it again, or I can't use it on, Amara by spending some points to level it up. Take it to one of the gunsmiths, or take it to the guy that's in Ellie's thing.
Yeah.
And have him, like, juice my gun.
So,
yeah.
Well, I'm still holding on to all my legendaries in case they add it to a DLC or a patch or something.
And again, I'm looking at specific legendaries going... And that's where I had to laugh, because there was the first Vault Monster, and every time I fought him with you guys, he would drop the exact same rocket launcher, which I had kept using for the longest time, because I'm like, it just keeps leveling with me every time I kill this thing. Perfect. So yeah, Vault Hunter mode is something we have to try. There's the other game modes that we still have to try.
Yeah, there's 2 other ones, right?
And then obviously Mayhem mode, and then running through that kind of stuff, and then the Halloween event, which starts in a few weeks.
So there's another event that happened too, but
so the second event was rare spawns are not rare.
I didn't really.
So you're supposed to, if you look online, it tells you, like, go to this planet, go to this section, and sometimes you'll get a rare spawn, which will drop really good loot. Guaranteed that guy's going to show up.
But and they didn't really have good loot.
I know.
They had okay loot.
Yeah, but they're supposed to show up guaranteed now during this event. These are all leading up because of the 10th anniversary of Borderlands. So it's their baby little events, but they're still, I think next week's an Iridium event. So we should be getting more and more Iridium next week if we play the game.
Yeah, I still need to get to level 50 first before I spend any of my Iridium.
And the Iridium, like,
guns.
And I'm not spending it on guns because I keep looking at that vending machine and there's nothing spectacular in there that I want. They do have some cool effects that are meant for specific characters and specific builds. But it's the same with the golden keys. Like, I'm not going forward and using them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I'm at that point where it's like, this Halloween event kind of has to hit, and then I have to see what the next DLC is going to be to see if I'm going to buy the season pass or if I'm kind of just done.
Yeah. I'm kind of almost at that point where I'm like, okay, now what?
And that's the thing. Like, I've been exploring the planets, which has helped.
Yeah.
And then helping you guys out, which has helped. Like, jumping back into some of those fights, which has helped. But
I think I need to play with people more.
And that's the biggest piece, is I think if we run around as, like, the Vault Hunter mode, where we run through the story again, but now it's harder, because all the bosses will essentially be tuned to level 50.
Level 50.
It could be more interesting to run through that way, but we'll see.
We'll see. We shall see.
We shall see. But Borderlands was a good game. It was definitely worth...
It was definitely a good game.
Yes, it was worth getting
Yeah.
and picking up and playing.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones where it's, you know, like, Anthem was fun for a bit, and you kind of go, oh, I wish that could have been better. This one was, like, all the way through. I enjoyed myself. I had a fun time. I've definitely put the hours in to make to make it worth it.
And I definitely wanted to, hey, I want to go home and play this.
Yeah.
And instead of like, okay, let's grind this out.
Yeah, let's finish this damn game. Yeah.
Which I spent money on it. Gotta go finish it.
I guess I gotta finish it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't mention
What?
that we also both did. We both beat Legend of Zelda
Oh, I talked about that
Sorry, I
last
didn't
week,
talk
but
about
yes,
it.
you finished A Link to the Past.
Yeah, I got everything.
You
dude.
found everything.
Found everything.
All the seashells.
All the seashells.
Good for you. I haven't done that because I don't care. But
It's
you got the seashell sword.
Yeah. I just always need to,
Yeah.
do this stuff for Zelda games.
I understand.
It's like, I guess it's like Chris's trophies. Zelda games, I had to find everything.
A Link to the Past for me though, or not A Link to the Past. Link's Awakening though. Finding stuff was fun.
Yeah.
Like, and especially like you get the seashell tracker,
Detector
so at
thing.
least it's like, oh,
Yeah.
there's
You're
one
like,
around
oh,
here.
we
You're
got
like,
it.
okay,
We got
start digging everywhere.
Is it in a tree?
Yeah,
Is it in
start
the
digging, start running
You
at
have to do
trees.
something?
Like, you look like a crazy person. Like, you can only imagine, like, there's this guy just running at a tree and, like, bam!
Bam! Look at her.
You're like, what are you looking for? Seashell?
In a tree.
And it's
yes!
like, and it wasn't there, so all of a sudden just takes out a shovel and starts
Start digging
digging. And you're
everywhere.
like, now what are you looking for? Seashell. And you're like, why do you think there's a seashell here? Do you not hear the ringing, good sir?
Oh, video games are real life.
Oh dear, no I don't, sir.
Eat
No,
food
I
off the
don't.
floor.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a solid game.
Solid game. I do feel that wasn't worth $80.
What, Link to the Past?
Yeah, it was just so too
Was
fast.
that 80? That wasn't 80.
I thought it was 80.
Oh, I guess it
paid
was 80. I bought it with my, because I bought it a long time ago with my my coupon thing.
I feel like it should have been 60.
Yeah, that could have been a $60 game.
It was too short.
Yeah, that's where I'm worried
Not much
about.
stuff added to it.
And that's where I'm worried
Other than
about,
good
like,
graphics.
I'm worried about if they do the Oracle games.
Yes.
Like, they'll charge $80 a piece for the, like, that starts getting a little
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. I still bought it for $80 because I was like, oh, it's Zelda.
It's Zelda, and it's actually, it is a solid
It
Zelda
is a solid
game.
Zelda game.
Like, the
Yeah.
bosses in it are really well
Yes.
built. The
Yes.
combination of using the items
Yes.
was, like, astounding for its time.
It was good.
Like, oh, you have a feather, so you can jump now. And it's like, oh, you have boots that make you run faster. If you run faster and then jump, you will jump
run
longer distances. And it's like, whoa.
Whoa.
Because, again, the only Zelda we had at that point were the original,
Yep.
Zelda 2,
Zelda 2.
and A Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Where we were getting those items, but they weren't used in
could-
conjunction.
yeah,
so
you
all of a
could-
sudden the Game Boy game came out and was like, hey, you can run and jump and you'll go farther. And you're like,
What?
that's crazy. So yeah, like,
Yeah. The
it's a
color levels
solid
were good.
and yes, like there's the color dungeon from the Game Boy Color
Yeah.
game that was in there.
I went blue.
Did you?
Yeah.
Just to be blue?
Yeah.
Or just for more defense?
Well, more for defense. Because I figured, I get the sword later. That does more damage anyway.
I died 3 times, I think.
Oh, I went on master mode right away.
No, God.
I died 39 times.
Well, that would make sense. And then you took a blue tunic. If you went
Yeah.
on master mode, you
It was
crazy lunatic.
because no hearts drop. No hearts
No
drop.
hearts
except
drop,
at
I know.
fairies. I died so many times.
Hello, Time Eater. How is it going?
Ironically, we're almost at the end of our time.
Depends. Maybe you can make us say more.
Yeah, you want us to talk about something?
Yeah. Either way, yeah, that's. I've been kind of boring because I've been like pushing through Borderlands to make sure
Yeah.
I've gotten that done, and then it's kind of after Borderlands, you're in that.
Yeah. What do I do now?
What do I do?
Let's talk about that. What should I do now?
I don't know. I've been playing River City Girls.
Oh.
Like that's kind of what I've replaced it with, or I've been helping you guys. So
Yeah.
on Borderlands 3 to get to the end.
I'm wondering what I should play now. Like I tried Darksiders, but then
Oh yeah.
I didn't feel like
You gotta fit it,
playing
yeah. And that's a game. Again, it's
Well, I wasn't
you need a
feeling it.
palate cleanser game.
Yeah.
And again, that's where I kind of go back to sports games. Maybe we go back to playing hockey
Yeah,
for a
we
bit.
could go back and play hockey a bit.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, like, the next game I'm waiting for
Yeah.
is Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Which you can feel bad about while
which I
playing.
can feel bad
Yeah.
about while I play it.
Yeah.
No idea when that's coming out.
Yeah.
Beta is supposed to be coming out soon,
You think?
which I hope I get because I pre-purchased it.
That means nothing anymore.
No.
In all honesty, and again, it's one of those games that I might feel bad about. Like Call of Duty, the new one's coming out.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of those ones where it's like, should I?
Should I?
That could be
I've never
fun.
been a Call of Duty kind of guy.
But this is back to like, so the one we've been playing,
Yeah.
it is that again.
Okay.
So it's not like there's nothing fancy. There's no jetpacks. There's no like it's
I
soldier
know, I hate all the...
with gun, like because I hate all this shit. If you could have a complete collection of any console, what would it?
Like Nintendo?
So like a Super Nintendo or a Nintendo or an N64. If you could
Oh,
have all the games
games.
for, yeah, Super Nintendo. Definitely a Super Nintendo. I can play those games constantly and without end.
No, that's a really good. Can I say PC? I just get all these games.
You could, I guess.
I don't know. That's a very good question.
Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo.
I can live off Super Nintendo games forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
See, I feel like I was like that for the original Nintendo. There were so many games I played hours upon hours.
There were, but the Nintendo kind of, for me, it would be the original Xbox. Oh, there you go.
What do you say?
Yeah, original Xbox.
Original Xbox. N64 I played a ton of.
I did, but going back to those games,
I don't think I could go back.
That's
like the
my
graphics
piece.
were so like GoldenEye.
GoldenEye plays so slow.
Yeah, and the graphics did not age well.
And back in the day, we were like, "Oh my god, the
my
intense action and speed!" And you go back now, and it's like,
so slow.
ding, 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 and you're like, "Why am I walking? Where's
So
the
slow.
run button?" And there is no run button. But again, we're used to games now where it's like, click, sprint,
Yeah, sprint.
and this, and that, and this, and that, and you go back to these games now, it's like, look at me go.
Even Mario 64 didn't age that well on me. Now that I have like Mario Galaxy and Mario Odyssey
yeah.
and
Super Nintendo. That's why I like Super Nintendo, because again, Nintendo NES pushed things to a certain limit. Super Nintendo was like this refined. The graphics looked good. The games were long. They could be complex.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I stick with the Super Nintendo. Original Xbox, I don't know enough about.
I don't know.
I never we played Halo.
Halo. That was huge at that time.
Like enough people owned Xboxes that
Where there were LAN
parties.
Old LAN parties.
That I miss.
That I miss. Computer LAN parties too. I do miss LAN parties.
Yeah, and again, that's just going back to couch co-op.
Yeah, it's just couch co-op.
Yeah.
Just miss couch.
Or couch competitive.
I miss hanging out with my friends.
I miss seeing people.
uh,
That's what, but then again, that's what like that Facebook thing's trying to the Muppets are doing commercials for it right now, where it's like connect with your friends, so like you can put a little camera on top of your TV from Facebook.
Oh, I deleted my Facebook.
But I remember getting the Scarab gun in Halo 2. Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I mean.
I remember that. I remember the Scarab gun.
Yeah, like I miss Halo and Halo 2 and the parties that you could have for Halo and Halo 2. Because, there's a difference between sitting with a bunch of people playing stuff versus sitting on your couch playing with a bunch of people somewhere out in the world doing stuff. Like,
that's why my bachelor party was great. That Mario Kart was the best Mario Kart I've ever experienced.
Yeah, we almost filled the entire, that thing was filled with people. That was like 12 actual racers.
That was so fun.
Which is the craziest way to play Mario Kart.
Yeah.
12 people actually racing.
And
No
we were
one's
so
at the
tight.
back,
Yeah,
right?
We were all so tight. If you got hit with the red shell, you're in last place. That was the best Mario Kart experience of my life.
That was crazy.
Thank you.
Mario Kart. That was crazy Mario Kart.
I'm sorry I didn't drink that much that night. I was just so enthralled with Mario Kart.
That's okay. I have another party coming up.
Okay.
We're good. But yeah, that's the piece is Super Nintendo for the games. But yeah, thinking that direction where it's like, what would I like to have for party kind of games? It's still a Nintendo console.
That's true. Yeah, definitely Nintendo.
But I did have fun because I remember, I think I was your place the one time where we were playing Halo. One of your birthdays ages and ages and ages ago.
Because I never owned an Xbox.
No, but you had enough people that showed up with Xboxes.
All right. And then
that one guy brought his own TV.
His own TV. Went to Best Buy and bought a TV that day.
Yeah, brought his own TV, and
Justin.
it's just and it's just okay, crazy person.
That was pretty fun. And we had it's set up in different rooms.
Yeah, rooms. Yeah, different teams were in different sections of the basement. That's
actually pretty cool.
That's some crazy stuff that happens.
Yeah.
Which again, Borderlands 3 has been fun to play, but not that kind of fun.
It's different. Yeah, it's just different.
Yep.
So,
So there you go.
Good.
Yeah, good stuff, good times. Either way, that's our show.
Yes.
Because we are, sorry, Time Eater, you arrived right at the bitter end, but we are going to do this again next week.
Yes, and I think I'll actually make 2 weeks in a row.
If your guys' games repainted.
Can we Google this? Is that allowed?
The answer is no. But here we go.
Or is it like an art thing where they repaint?
I don't know. Oh no, I'm still looking at Martin Scorsese. Games repainted. Not games are painted. Oh, it's a YouTube channel. No, I have not. I'm always looking for new YouTube channels, though.
Yes. Oh yeah,
So
that's
cool.
That's what I was thinking of doing maybe sometime. Is we should do another streaming of our games.
Yes, we have to do more
We have-
game streaming.
We have not done that in a while.
No, we have not.
I was
will
gonna do that with
definitely-
Warcraft 3.
Yeah, and we still could. I will definitely check out Games Repainted. Because this looks kind of cool. They play some cool games. So yeah, most definitely.
Definitely.
I'm interested in the repainting part of things. But yeah, so either way, we are out of time. This is the end of our show, but check us out next week. If you want to follow us, check us out at barrelrollnews.com. It has all the links to all of our social media, or you can just look up Barrel Roll News on, Facebook and or Instagram and or Twitter, and find us there. Like and subscribe and tell your friends, because it's the best thing you can do. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.